Band-Aid off, you don't put it back on and then rip it off again tomorrow.
My hunch is that it was part of a negotiated settlement for her to be eased out the door.
I just don't understand. Why is the Hillary Clinton and the President of the United States negotiating with this person? Who cares? I mean, I'm not a politician, but who cares who the head of the DNC is and whether or not they get to speak or not?
I'm sure because they wanted her to go relatively quietly into that night, and this was probably the best way that they could facilitate this. It reminds me, as you just referenced, the way in which we began in Cleveland with Melania speaking. I think this too shall pass, but maybe not so quickly, depending on that which is released over the next couple of days. And Anderson, what most interests me, because this is all great drama, but what most interests me is the alleged Russian angle, because either this is evidence of a foreign power seeking to influence the outcome of an American election, which is troublesome, or it's some of the greatest spin that I've ever seen in a presidential campaign. Paul is smiling as I say that.
I don't think they put it out there without knowing something.
That's true.
This is something. There was a meeting of an.
You don't think political people would put something out there without it actually being 100% true?
Put it out there and. Well,
really?
I've never done anything.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Are we in an alternate universe?
Can I just revise and extend my remarks? Because what I think is that on this kind of an issue where you're really accusing a foreign government of hacking in to the Democratic National Committee, I think you better have your facts straight. And there were meetings of intelligence officials, DOD, Department of Defense, National Security Council, about this potential Russian hack. Now, he may have taken it a step too far, because I think if you believe it to be true, you ought to be able to present the evidence about it. But I also, so yes, I believe it is serious. To your point, Anderson, he was trying to change the subject.
Yeah, God knows a campaign manager has never been known to say something that's not true. WikiLeaks, by the way, their response is, quote, Clinton campaign pushing lame conspiracy smear that we are Russian agents. Last time we were Mossad. Get it right.
But I don't think they're Russian agents. I think that's the Russians did it.
Right. The question, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think, let's be clear, I think that there's some operational deficiencies in the Democratic Party. And the Russian operatives, and I think I'm pretty certain there was a forensic team that went in and delved into it and found that there were two groups that were tied to Russian defense officials who went in and hacked the DNC. We know that to be true. But with all that being said, WikiLeaks didn't write the emails. So we have to deal with that first. So we have to be
right, and the emails themselves show
that
the DNC was not an impartial actor.
So it doesn't excuse that. So what you have to do is you have to go in and you have to hold people accountable. People have to be fired, and that's what happened. But you also cannot discount this in a general election, because I think that there are some natural ties, and I think that's what Robbie was saying earlier. There are some natural ties that show that the Russian government is trying to influence this election.
Let me just point out, Donald Trump does not use email. And it's for reasons exactly like this.
But he uses Twitter.
He uses Twitter, but he does not use, which is all out there in public. He does not.
Let's get a hold of those DMs. That's what we need.
He does not use email. You know, what happens is they'll photostat something, scan it, he'll write a note. No,
I guess I still don't understand. Again, I've interviewed Debbie Wasserman Schultz once or twice. We had a contentious interview once. I don't really know the person, but why are people negotiating with her? I don't understand.
She is worthy of respect and honor by dint of the service
I agree.
given to the party. That's number one.
By the way, if I was fired from CNN, I don't think I would be allowed back on the air to do a couple more shows.
That's vastly different, though.
I pay my cable bill. No, but it's also there's first the emotional reason, which is due some respect for the work she's done. But then there's a practical reason. Technically, she could force a vote. She works for the Democratic National Committee. She doesn't actually even work for the President of the United States. She's not the Secretary of the Interior. She works for a political party whose committee actually technically hires her. She could force a floor vote on this. She's not going to do it.
I'm just. Yeah.
Well, I
I
think if she's going to speak tomorrow, let's at least hear what she has to say. Is it going to be a spectacle tomorrow, or are all eyes going to be on this speech? It's going to be, 5 to 7 minutes. Probably as soon as they gavel in, at 4 o'clock during the middle of happy hour for most Americans. I mean, is that going to be the case? Yes. But I know.
I think that 4 o'clock hour has now become prime time.
I know, Debbie.
Not my happy hour.
It's mine. But to quote James Carville, he said something that was amazing today. James said that sometimes in politics, you have to know how to take your sword out and how to fall on it. And today, Debbie fell on that sword. And tomorrow, I think she's due to respect to at least hear what she has to say.
Well, the problem with that, though, is the response will be the story. She'll say wonderful things. She's a good Democrat. She's a fine person. The response will become the story, and we don't need that. It's like that old country song, How Can I Miss You?
Yeah, but normally, when someone falls on their sword, they don't then get up and get on stage with a giant sword sticking out.
Well, it's there, okay? So it's there. So let's see the theater.
They wander off.
Are you not
entertained,
entertained, Anderson? Are you not
No, I'm saying
entertained?
as a reporter, from my standpoint, it's an interesting story.
Because Bernie Sanders said, though, that she should
We
not
will be talking about this tomorrow.
What?
Bernie Sanders